Number 10. Aribert Heim. While serving as a doctor at Mauthausen, Heim injected prisoners' hearts with petrol and removed their organs without anesthesia. He is said to have used his victims' skulls as paperweights. As authorities found no record of his atrocities, Heim practiced medicine until 1962, when he was indicted as a war criminal. He swiftly disappeared. Despite a $157,000 reward from the German government and worldwide sightings, Heim was never caught. However, a 2009 investigation found that he'd fled to Egypt, converted to Islam, and lived there under the name Tariq Hussein Farid until his death in 1992. Number 9. Gustav Wagner. Wagner was deputy commander of the Sobibor concentration camp, where up to 250,000 people were murdered. Witnesses report that he took pleasure in personally killing inmates. His biggest tally in one day was 9 murders, including a father and a son who had to place their heads together so he could execute them both with a single bullet. With the rumoured help of the Vatican, Wagner escaped to Brazil and lived in relative anonymity until his arrest in 1978. Despite extradition requests from several countries, all were rejected by Brazil. Found dead in 1980 with a knife in his chest, Wagner's death was officially classified as suicide, but rumours persist that he was actually killed by Nazi hunters. Number 8. Klaus Faber. A Dutchman who served in the SS, Faber escaped prison and fled to Germany in 1952. He had been sentenced to life imprisonment for involvement in the murder of 22 people. Once in Germany, he claimed citizenship using a law passed by Hitler that hadn't been repealed by the new German government. This law gave all foreigners who joined Nazi units German citizenship. Despite repeated requests to extradite Faber to the Netherlands, Germany refused on the grounds that Faber was now a German citizen. Attempts to have him jailed in Germany also failed. He died a free man, aged 90, in 2012. Number 7. Klaus Barbie. Blamed for at least 4,000 deaths and for sending a further 7,500 people to concentration camps, Barbie was a brutal Gestapo leader. He once deported 44 Jewish children, some as young as 3, from an orphanage to Auschwitz. Following Germany's defeat, Barbie was recruited by the USA to help with their anti-communist activities in Europe. They even aided his escape to Bolivia, where, by some accounts, he helped to hunt down Che Guevara. Although Barbie did eventually stand trial, he served just 4 years in prison before dying in 1991. Number 6. Heinz Lammerding. Heinz Lammerding is notorious for the massacre at Oradour-sur-Glane in France, where he ordered the death of 642 of its inhabitants, including women and children who were burned alive in a church. Sentenced to death by French courts, Lammerding never answered for his crimes as the West German constitution prevented him from being extradited. The case was dismissed again in 1964 as German investigators declared there was lack of evidence. Lammerding died aged 66, denying any involvement in the massacre. Number 5. Horst Schumann. Schumann spent the war trying to find a mass sterilization method to eradicate Nazi enemies. Inmates at Auschwitz had their reproductive organs exposed to huge doses of X-ray radiation, causing severe weeping burns. Many died agonizing deaths. In the aftermath of the war, he carried on practicing medicine until his crime surfaced in 1951. Evading authorities until 1966, he finally stood trial but was released from prison in 1972 due to failing health. He went on to live another 11 years, spending the rest of his life in the city of Frankfurt. Number 4. Heinz Reinefeld. During the Warsaw Uprising in 1944, approximately 40,000 civilians were slaughtered in the Wola massacre. Heinz Reinefeld was one of the German commanders responsible. Arrested following the war, Reinefeld was acquitted and released due to lack of evidence. There are reports that US intelligence recruited Reinefeld to help them understand Soviet infantry tactics and blocked attempts for him to stand trial. This might explain why Polish attempts to have him extradited also failed. Reinefeld went on to be active in politics, being elected as a mayor and member of parliament. Given a military pension by West Germany, he died in 1979. Number 3. Alois Brunner. Involved in deporting 128,000 Jews to death camps, Brunner escaped punishment using forged papers. Sentenced to death by a French court in 1954, he fled to Syria. Brunner is thought to have spent the remainder of his life advising the Syrian government on torture methods. He survived 2 letter bomb assassination attempts by the Israeli Secret Service, although he lost 3 fingers and an eye. He died aged 98 in 2010. Number 2. Walter Rauff. Thought to have been responsible for almost 100,000 deaths during World War II, Walter Rauff helped develop mobile gas vans. Caught by the Americans, Rauff escaped and evaded capture by hiding out in Italian convents before eventually settling in Chile. In 1962, Rauff was arrested and faced extradition but was free within months. Under Chilean law, you can't be tried for a murder that happened more than 15 years ago. So he saw out his life in the country, dying aged 77. Number 1. Josef Mengele. Mengele worked at Auschwitz selecting who would go to the gas chambers. 400,000 Jews were killed during his tenure. Infamous for experiments on humans, he injected chemicals into people's eyes to see if they'd change colour, and allegedly sewed twins together in an attempt to create conjoined twins. Arrested by US troops in 1945, he was released and worked in Germany using a false identity before escaping to South America. He never stood trial despite West Germany seeking his extradition and Israel dispatching Nazi hunters to find him. He died on vacation in 1979.
Hey guys, that was 10 evil Nazis that escaped justice. Let us know what you thought in the comments. If you are interested in the subject and would like to learn more, then you should head over to All Time Conspiracies. They've done a video on Operation Paperclip, which kind of goes into more detail about how certain Nazi scientists were protected by the Allies after the war. So be sure to check that out, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.